Hey followers, here we are again on the channel. Today we have my coach and mentor, Andy McPhee, and we have an incredible guest, Kevin Hines. Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, Andy. Hey, Doug. How are you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
great,
doing
mate.
good.
Yeah, amazing to meet you. I've heard a lot about you over the years, and read part of I think it was the book or the series. You did a documentary, didn't you, on the ripple effect?
Yeah, Suicide, the Ripple
Yeah,
Effect. That's right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Matt Runnels, who I know that you and Matt share platforms together. Matt's already been on our series here and sharing his journey of prevention of suicide and mental health awareness, and it's a tough gig, mate, because there's a lot of it going on at the moment. With COVID, people are not dealing with it, and it's terrible. In the last 4 months, I've had close friends and associates have lost children, 18, 19 years old, so it's really terrible. But Doug, I'll hand it over to you, mate.
Yeah, so Kevin, let me get this straight. You survived a suicide attempt at the Golden Gate Bridge, is that correct?
That is correct. It was the worst day of my life, and I attempted to take my life at 19 years of age because of bipolar depression.
Oh, bipolar, yeah. It's really incredible that you've used your story to create a great future for yourself.
Absolutely, Doug. You're doing great work.
So,
Yeah,
Kevin, can I ask you what I know a little bit of your story, but what are you up to nowadays? I know you travel immensely and speak on platforms. Can you share a little bit about, what you do pretty much daily? You're a hard man to get hold of.
I know. I'm so sorry. Absolutely. So well, pre-COVID, I was traveling the world 320 to 345 days a year. There's only 365 days in the year, so that's most of the year. And I was speaking and traveling all those days to groups of all kinds: military, law enforcement, high schools, colleges, grade schools, up fourth grade on up, or grammar schools, as you might call them in Australia. And I was speaking to every level of clinician, every hospital association you can think of here in America, and sharing a story of hope, healing, and recovery while living with the diagnosis of bipolar and fighting through depression. I live with chronic regular thoughts of ending my life, but I maintain that I'll never die that way, because I'll always fight the pain and I'll always ask for help. But it wasn't always like that. Back when I was very unwell, when I attempted off the Golden Gate Bridge, I couldn't see hope. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. All I could see, feel, hear, touch, and know was pain. And today, after a lot of tumultuous and difficult struggles, after an arduous battle with this disease, I've found a true calm, I would say, and living mentally well most days to the best of my ability, with a very strict routine and regimen of mental health activities that I do every day. I have just like Doug and you, I have a YouTube channel that is dedicated to changing and saving lives. And that's youtube.com/Kevin Hines. Very simple. We've got a playlist on there called The Art of Wellness, which is a 10-step guide, 12 videos, 10-step guide to bettering your brain health. People are saying, as far as Peru, Africa, China, and Japan, and America, and farther, that they are following the plan, and within 6 to 9 months, they're dramatically improving their mental health. It's not a one-size-fits-all, but these are common sense tools to better your brain health. So what I want to do is share my story in every way possible. Wrote a book called Cracked Not Broken: Surviving and Thriving After a Suicide Attempt. It's still a bestseller, and that was 6 or 8 years ago. We made the film Suicide, the Ripple Effect with Greg Cherry and my wife and his former wife. And that was about helping people find hope and light at the end of the tunnel as well, and sharing my personal story. We're in the works of a docu-series, putting that together as well. And my wife and I started a couple things. We started a film production company to do these things, and we started a foundation to raise funds for kids who can't afford therapy. We get them free teletherapy. So those are just some of the things we're doing.
That's really incredible, man. No other way to put it. What you do for mental health, like, we need more of that in this world, in my opinion.
So, and look,
I totally
Kevin,
agree.
I picked up there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, totally right, Doug. Something I picked up there, Kevin, about the mental health daily routines, just like to eat healthy, and so you're just saying too that people need to put a structure in for mental health daily, correct? Yes, and also asking for help as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the only way we can get better is if we do the hard work. And the hard work to start that hard work, as you would know, Doug, is the hardest thing to do, because you're at bottom, you're at rock bottom, you're at zero, and you have to build yourself up to be life skilled successful, not monetarily, but life skill success. And to do that, you have to have a routine and a regimen that you follow to better balance your brain health. I mean, anybody in the world can benefit from a routine and regimen. Anybody in the world. And people do all around the world, whether they have a mental illness or not. But specifically people with mental illnesses or diagnoses of mental illnesses, they need to have a very strict routine to stay stable. And that's how I've maintained all the years.
I agree with you on that. And another thing just to say about it, one of the reasons that I'm in a much better place in my personal life mentally is I've started exercising and bodybuilding. A few years back when I was in rock bottom, I got some advice from my pastor, because I'm a religious person. And he told me that if I wanted to rediscover happiness, sometimes exercise helps. And he also told me to learn about the fruit of the Spirit.
I'm with you, Doug. I'm a very religious person myself, and I can appreciate that. And I weight train, and I have my faith, and it's really, they're both very great. Doug I happen to believe that faith, family, and friends, and fun get you through anything, making your life worth living.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And it's like Doug's doing an amazing thing, and Kevin, I also hear with what you're saying, one of the initial steps is for people to ask for help. Like even if you're not feeling 100% or you're not sure what's going on, there's no shame in asking a friend or family to say, look, I'm not dealing with something at the moment, I just maybe need to talk to you. Do you find people neglect to do that a lot? They're just a bit ashamed to ask for help?
I think there's a couple things going on here. There's people that are ashamed to ask for help. There's people that are afraid to ask for help. There are people that when they ask for help, they're turned away. There are people that live in abusive situations, neglectful situations, and they feel they have no one and nowhere to go, and they feel alone. And then when they say they feel alone, the world surrounds them and says, no, you're not alone. But that's a mistake. To tell someone who says they feel alone, they're not alone, really invalidates how they're feeling. I think it's really important to say, I know what it's like to feel alone. I've got your back, and I'm here for you if you need me. How can I help? I think that's a much better way to approach when someone says they feel alone, is to validate their feeling and say, I'm here for you. So now you know you're not alone. I got you back.
I can actually relate to that, because a few years back when I was in a rough spot, I had made my feelings about certain things I didn't like about my life clear to people in my inner circle. And, they didn't really address the problems. They sort of were like, they basically told me to put up with them on the grounds that I wasn't any better than the people that, I was criticizing. And I was like, that's not what you say to people when they're not in a good place. Right.
Right. 100%. It's just, when someone's going through hell and they're really dealing with the troubles this world brings us, and the depression and all this, especially during COVID times, we need to validate their experience. We need to let them know that their experience is legitimate, what they're going through is real, that their pain is real, their pain is valid, their pain is worthy of our time and others, and their pain matters simply because they do. When we can do that, we can get someone to go from suicidal to safety and get them to live out their natural life. Yeah, and the ripple effect can be something bad or something good. The ripple effect of a loss of suicide can devastate a family forever, but the ripple effect of a life saved can improve a family forever. So what we want to suggest to people all around the world is that if you see someone actively in emotional pain, don't hesitate to walk up to them, look them in the eyes and say, hey, how you going? You all right? How can I help you? You don't look too well. Can I do anything to help you, please? You know, and they're going to look at you and you go, what the hell do you care? And you go, because I'm a human being and so are you. And you matter. And I know you do. So is there anything I can do to help you? And you'd be surprised to see how many people will open up at that moment and tell you their truth. The question is, will you be there to be there in that moment for them and get their back?
Yeah, that's really great advice, Kevin.
And letting their voices be heard. Everybody has a voice. Everybody's voice needs to be heard. And when people feel powerless and they feel voiceless and they feel they have no other option but to die by their hands, we've got to be the ones to reach in. We can't wait for them to reach out.
Yeah, so true. You got any questions, Doug? I'm sure you have.
I must ask you, Kevin, how did you survive the Golden Gate Bridge jump?
You know, Doug, you know, Andy, by the grace of God, you know, in the water, as I flailed to stay afloat, a sea lion came to my aid and kept me afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind me. It literally bumped me up until the Coast Guard boat arrived. Coast Guard fished me out of the water. Coast Guard fished me out of the water, and I had a 10.5-hour back surgery to replace my shattered vertebrae with titanium. The doctor saved my life, the Coast Guard saved my life, and the sea lion saved my life.
Yeah, Andy and I were kind of talking about it this morning based on a previous interview we did with someone, and it shows that animals can be humans' best friends.
Absolutely. All around the world, there have been animals that have saved the lives of human beings, including my own. I'm on quite a few top 10 lists on YouTube of top 10 animals that saved a human's life. You can see all the other animals that did what they did. I've seen stories of cheetahs saving little babies. I've seen stories of lions saving little kids. I've seen stories of dolphins saving people from sharks. I've seen stories of sharks saving people from drowning. So it's quite fascinating to see that these creatures come into play. And I just give it up to God because that's my faith. That's what I believe. It's what I've always known. Not going to push that on anybody, but you know, when a sea creature, a mammal comes up to you, and literally the only reason you get to live that day is because of that mammal, that means something. That comes from somewhere. You know, I believe that sea lion, I call him Herbert, was my guardian angel. You know.
Yeah.
98% of those who've attempted off the Golden Gate Bridge in the last 8.5 decades have died. 2% have survived that fall. That's 39 people in 84 years. Of that 2%, of that 39 individuals, 26 remain alive today. Many have died of natural causes or old age. Of those 26 remaining alive today, 19 came forward just like me to say the moment their hands left the rail, they had an instant regret from their actions because they recognized that their thoughts didn't have to become their actions. They didn't have to attempt in the first place. They had to ask for help, but they thought it was too late. Of those 19 that come forward that said that they had instant regret, only 5 of us get the privilege to stand, walk, and run. They call us the most exclusive survivors club in the world. There's a book of the same name by Ben Sherwood. And in that, I make a very clear point. I get to be here. And getting to be here is a privilege and a gift, no matter the pain I'm in. You know, it's interesting, you guys, Doug and Andy. I used to look at pain differently. I used to look at my mental illness, and I would always say I suffer from bipolar disorder. It's a common theme among people with mental illnesses because Our clinicians tell us so. Our clinicians, when we first meet them, when we first get to know them, they say to us, you're suffering from bipolar disorder, you're suffering from an eating disorder, you're suffering from autism. They say this to us. And we then adopt that narrative. We take that narrative in and we swallow it whole and we're dealing with this disease. But I realized 2.5 years ago when I had a skin disease that because of the medication I was taking, it poisoned my organs. And I had inflammation on my whole body, 2nd-degree burns from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head, bloody blisters throughout my entire body, felt like knives and needles were coming from my bones, through my skin, across my entire body for 30 weeks, 24 hours a day. All I wanted to do was die. I learned the true meaning of extreme pain. And in that true meaning of extreme pain, I also learned the definition of pain. Pain is inevitable. In some way, shape, or form, it's coming for you if it hasn't already. But suffering is optional. It's a choice. You choose to suffer if you say you're a sufferer. You become the victim of your own story. I argue with you to shift the narrative of your own story. And instead of saying that you suffer, making you the victim of your story, say that you fight, you battle, and you live with your diagnosis, which makes you then the hero of your own story. And I think that that's really the difference between what I used to think and what I think today, is that I am no sufferer. I never suffered. I may be in pain since the day I was born on a 6th Street in a crack motel, but I've never suffered a day in my life.
That is really inspiring. Like, there's no other way to put it other than you're an extremely brave person.
Yeah, that's really, it is really inspiring, Kevin. And yeah, absolutely, Doug, 100%. And look, the thing is, what you were saying about animals, it's so funny you're bringing that up, because we've been researching all morning animals that have been saving human beings. And the reason we're doing that is because another guest on the program has saved nearly 13,000 dogs over the last 9 years. He's a dog rescuer. And we were looking for comparisons of animals that have saved humans. And I've seen those videos you're talking about, Kevin. And my friend Steve, he transports dogs out of LA up to be recuperated and regenerated, and like 13,000 dogs. So his journey in life is saving animals, and then we have animals who save human beings, and it really is incredible when you look at nature. And your story about pain, I was only having a conversation yesterday with someone about pain. I said the pain will be there regardless of what it is, but we have the choice to either live in it, suffer in it. So yeah, we can't be defined by, Doug can't be defined by being high functioning, autistic, because he's not. He's going to be coaching me in a few years, I can tell you. He's amazing,
Amazing. I think that you can let your pain defeat you, or you can let it build you brick by brick from the ground up. You can let it build a wall around you that is so strong that it becomes impenetrable. If you have gratitude inside your pain, it can never defeat you.
Yeah, my philosophy is we can be the kings and queens of anything if we believe. Yeah, absolutely.
And look, Doug, have you got any more questions for Kevin? Because the time is nearly up.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I have one last question to ask, and it's very pivotal for times like these. How have you held up in COVID times?
Thank you very much, Doug, for asking that question. Doug, I really stuck to my routine. And in sticking to my routine and constantly being on FaceTime calls with my friends and family and praying every day, I've been able to defeat the COVID sadness that we're all having right now, as I call it, the COVID depression. More and more people around the world are finding themselves, who've never found themselves depressed, are finding themselves depressed in this isolation. We need to reach out to them. We need to let them know we care. Here's my suggestion to everyone watching right now. If you know of anybody who lives alone, call them every day. Call them every single day. They might not always answer. Just call them. Get on a video chat with them. Let them know you love them. They need it. They need to hear it.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. And we'll make sure that that message is really clear on the channel. I know Doug will make sure it's clear, and we'll make sure that, this message comes across, powerfully, because that's what we need nowadays. Because as you said, this is something people are just not used to. None of us are. So we really do need to stick together and keep together.
Yeah.
It's just like this message above. It's just like this message above me. My brother's keeper that you see on my background. We are our brothers, our sisters, and our individuals keepers. No matter how you identify as yourself, we are your keeper. Everyone's important. Everyone matters. We need to be there for one another in this time of need.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Well, that's probably the best note to complete this on. But I'm sure that down the track, we'll be speaking to you again, because we are relentless. Doug and myself, I put him first, is relentless in keeping this channel going. We're learning how to build it. We're creating, better content and having amazing people on. So it's an honor to have you on, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you both. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Andy.
No problem. And I just want to say before we sign off, be devoted to one another in love. Honor others above yourself. No other way to put it. You know what I mean?
Champion. And I like your new haircut.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah. All righty. I want to thank both of my friends for appearing on the show. I enjoyed every bit of it. I ask all of my followers right now, if you're suffering mentally, please get help. And we'll see you next time on Being Relentless and Unstoppable.